You wish you were in Italy, don't you? Gendarme, salute. Next best thing.
Salute. I don't have a glass for me, but it's okay.
Here, you can use my glass.
Just as good.
Give it back to Mr. Tobacco.
Salute, the Gendarme, yeah?
Pravelli Concrete, Dominic Pravelli. We're at his world headquarters along that amazing stretch of highway, the Ohio River Boulevard, that was built by the 99th Infantry, thanks to then President Dwight Eisenhower. And I've traveled it many times, folks. We're here today just to celebrate the legacy of being Italian, and this gentleman here, Mike Coombe, I don't think it gets any better, and he's going to tell you about a journey that began for him as a teenager. All this talk about immigration, I have said many times, if it wasn't for immigrants, this country would not be anywhere near as great as it is. Tell him your story, Dominic.
What do you need to know?
I want to know about coming here.
Give me some questions. Come on.
How old were you when you came?
I was 15 years old when I came here.
You came with your father and the rest of
I came myself and 4 other siblings and my mom and dad and grandmother, 89 years old.
From what part of Italy did you come?
We're from Abruzzi. Abruzzese.
And you see, you don't get these from petting kitty cats, folks. He's been working a long time in the construction business. So you started off really striking brick, laying concrete, and how old were you?
I was 15 years old when I started working concrete.
And just about the time you were ready to celebrate the American dream, your father passed.
My dad passed away in 1983, and I was 21 years old, so I've been on my own ever since. And it's been good. A lot of work to have manufacturing jobs to be so you can produce here in the United States rather than be made overseas in China and Mexico and all other parts of the world. I think it's, for me, it's been, we make concrete, so we're also manufacturing of concrete products, and that makes it, it gives us a little bit of stability in what we do. But it's not easy though.
Ask Dominic about how he played soccer in Italy. Now, when he came here, he was a kicker for Stowe Rocks, and he got a scholarship.
When I came from Italy, I became a kicker at Stowe Rocks High School. And I just, actually, I started working for Manpower. Okay, that's how I started. And there was a little guy there by name Guy Carabia from Keys Rocks. He said, you know what, why don't we try out, have you try playing football? So I went in and Coach then says, I want you guys to get a pair of spikes and come in on Monday. And that's how I started playing football, and I became a kicker.
To finish the story, yeah. Amazing legacy that you've told on the radio, many 7 fishes of Christmas Eve. Your father passed, but you stayed here. You were under 21. You kept going to high school and kept working, and really high school during the day, football, and then working at night.
Well, I already graduated when I was 21. I worked for Trevor Corporation, and I was 19 years old, and I ran about 6 to 10 guys crew in the as a foreman. And I became a welder, and then I went back on my own when 1980 and 81 when the mills closed up, and I went back to myself, what I've done when I was 15 till I was, from high school. And that's how I started the concrete business.
Pravelli Concrete.
Pravelli Corporation.
Can do anything, but I must say, all the amazing high-tech stuff you do, my favorite saint, the Blessed Virgin Mary. Nobody does one better. Thank you very much. I will cherish it to the end. Rocco Cipriani, tell me about this guy. This guy is a legend. Louis Gentile. No, the Alama brothers. This is a real accent. He is not a Hollywood actor.
That's all a game.
When did you come to this country?
Back in 1964.
And what did you do for the majority of your life? What did you do to make a living?
Worked for 3 years. I don't know what I was working. But then, thanks to God, I got in JNL and I stayed one place. It didn't last too long. 19 and a half years. They kicked me out because they shut down. And then I started again. From here, I had to go all the way to Boston to get the job with US Airways. And I transferred back in Pittsburgh, and I'm still there. Now I'm retired. Enjoy. Salute.
My character, my personality is all based on that. We lived with my Italian grandparents. They didn't live with us. We lived with them until they tried kicking us out. We wouldn't leave. So they actually had to build a house next door to us to get away from us. So I just want to thank all of them for everything. And here's a little bit of Manaka thrown into all the
we love Manaka.
The spice. Right here is Moose Tobacco.
That's right. Former post office employee, ladies and gentlemen. He always delivers on time.
35 years.
35 years. United States Postal Service. Hardest workers in America.
Rob was just saying, hey, get Rich the mailman over here. Rich the mailman. I've known him my whole life from when I was a little kid. His name is Moose. I never knew until today his name was Rich.
Well,
If that's even your name, I'm not sure.
all right, two more people. Louis Poopy, longtime pharmacist, Pennsylvania Avenue. Used to open the doors to help your kids when they were sick at night. And of course, Vic Nardelli in the construction business, his wonderful children, Tommy and Mike, his daughter, his wife. And yes, proud members of the Monaca SOI, which is my home away from home. And if they would put a cot in there, I'd probably move in. Great food. And let me tell you how I've memorized everything. March 19th, the St. Patrick's Day celebration. You got to stop down. The Jim Beam girls will be there. Mike and I will be there. We're both single. We're so lonely. And also, the fabulous fish fry. It doesn't get any better. They crank them out by the hundreds, ladies and gentlemen. And as I said to him before, they're bigger than any 30-year-old carp in the Ohio River. That's how big those fish sandwiches are. Talk about your heritage. He actually is an immigrant, and he has really done so much with his life, and he's got a great family. Go ahead, Vic.
I came over here, I was 16 months old from Pagento, Italy. And it was, it's not that it wasn't tough, but it wasn't easy pickings. You know what I mean? You got what you had to get, and that was it. There was no frills. But it's what I try to instill with my kids, you know what I mean? No one's going to give you anything. You got to do what you got to do. And life is good. Life is definitely good.
Let me say this. His son, Tommy, dear friend, he's 22 years of age. He's got more smarts than I do at 59, so he's taking good care of me. You think I'm kidding? I'm lucky I'm not on parole, folks. All right. Louis Poopy. Louis, talk about your family. His brother, of course, a great doctor for many years, took care of my mother. Just good people. What an amazing person from Monaca. Go ahead, Louis.
All right. My father was an immigrant also. He came from the province of Aguilar whenever he was probably about 7 or 8 years old with his father and his brother. They ended up in the middle eastern part of the state working in Lansford in the coal mines, and my dad's father and his brother went back to Italy. He came back and settled in Monaca, Pennsylvania. My mother was born over here. He was a boarder at the house where my mother was, and that's how the relationship became. But he was a big believer in education. And I have 7 brothers and sisters. One brother was a surgeon, I was a pharmacist. I have one brother that's a school teacher, and a sister that was a nurse. And my other 2 sisters could have went to school if they wanted to, but they preferred the married life, and they raised great families of their own. So it's been a great country.
And he also has the biggest tomatoes from his garden that I've ever seen in my life. Now, Rich, obviously, for the Postal Service many years. So how does a guy from America, postal worker, working hard every day, obviously your town and heritage, was it the SOI that brought you all together, Rich?
Well, it's like Louis and Donnie and Mike and Vic. I grew up in Monaca. My father came from Pratte, across the street from the Centro. My mother was born in Coriopolis. We lived on Pennsylvania Avenue right behind the club. So I've been going to SOI since I was probably 5 years old, you know. And this kept going year after year after year, and now here we are. I'm 76 years old now, and I still go down here, you know, a couple days a week. But the club was part of our life. It was. We all grew up there. Weddings, funerals, baptisms, communions, you name it. It was at the SOI, and it still is today. It still is today.
Sunday afternoons, they'd send Dick over, go get your dad. I'm taking the pasta out, so come home and eat. And that's what they would do.
When my mother sent me over there, that was the best thing there was, because I was guaranteed a bag of potato chips, a bottle of Coke, and 5 nickels to put in the slot machine.
Hey, Frankie Albanese, of course, Don Petrella, who's over at the bar enjoying some of this gentleman's homemade wine. Just wonderful, wonderful people. And by the way, when you're at the Monaca SOI, the new entrance, Avelli concrete, nobody strikes a brick. They only have to strike it once. They don't have to strike it twice.
Not on your butt, maybe.
That's exactly. I know. If you sat on the bucket, you were fired, ladies and gentlemen. There's no bucket underneath me. All right, listen. As we go, something in Italian. Just wishing everyone hello, salute, and enjoy the rest of your day. Go.
In Italian, I wish everybody buona fortuna, un buon anno a tutti. Spero che il nuovo presidente sarà migliore di quello che è adesso.
Guess what I took out of that? Tuna. So I want some food. All right, folks. God bless these folks. Salute! From Belly Concrete in Ambridge, your Pratte Pack saying enjoy the rest of your day. I'm off the clock. It's enough. See ya.